Hey, Kristen, what you reading?
Well, I'm reading Fahrenheit 451.
What a coincidence. So am I. Happy Frankenstein tea.
Happy Frankenstein tea.
It's Friday.
It's Friday. Woo.
And not only is it Friday, but it's the Friday of National Library Week.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so it's a good time to be reading Fahrenheit 451.
Happy National Library Week.
Happy National Library Week.
Welcome to Frankenstein Tea. Frankenstein Tea is a weekly program produced here at the Aldrich. Ian and I work to bring you information, updates, and literature.
And we tried to be entertaining about it, too.
We tried. We got some feedback today that what are you doing? You're laughing through the whole thing. What are you drinking? It's tea.
It is tea.
It's tea.
Mine actually, today, mine is coffee and tea. So, yeah.
You mix coffee with tea?
It's called the Dirty Chai.
Really?
Yes, it's very good.
Interesting.
Shout out to Espresso Bueno.
Dirty chai. I'm back on the plain Lipton with honey.
Lipton with honey, that's good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So Frankenstein Tea, a program where we give you updates, read literature, have some fun. Frankenstein, it's named so because Frankenstein is a nod to permissible copyright and public domain. So Frankenstein is in the public domain. I started this program in the past during COVID, and so it was a nod to the monster of a time we were having, the monster of a disease. And the tea was this gesture I wanted to make to sort of take a time out, relax. COVID was so stressful for so many people and so really, really horrible. Obviously those of us who are here today, we made it through that, but lots of people didn't. So it was a time, and we were all locked down, we were all quarantined, so I started broadcasting. And so that's what Frankenstein Tea is. That's its origins. I wanted to say originates or original, but origins. And now it's become a library podcast.
Yeah.
It's become an Aldrich library podcast, and I love that. I think it really speaks to the organic nature of libraries.
Yeah.
How we respond to our communities and their needs, and we flex ourselves and we adapt ourselves to meet those needs, and we challenge ourselves to say, well, how else can we be creative? What else can we put out there?
Yeah.
So that's what we do here on Friday afternoons, and we're happy you joined us.
We're happy you joined us, and we hope that you enjoy our reading from Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. So we read a little Ray Bradbury a couple of weeks ago, so that was a nice little sort of a taster. And we
could read Ray Bradbury for a year.
We probably could for a year.
Something fun from Ray. We could have a Ray Bradbury year one year.
Yeah, Illustrated Man. I love Illustrated Man.
We could read it for a year.
And so the title, Fahrenheit 451, that is the temperature at which paper burns, according to his local fire department. Yeah, he finished his novel, he finished his book, and Ray Bradbury called up the local fire department and asked them what temperature paper burned at. They said 451, Fahrenheit 451. And so that is why it's named that.
I did not know that. That is a great piece of history.
And the other fun fact as well is that most of the book was written on a typewriter in the basement of a library.
Oh.
So what a great place to write a book, about censorship.
Where was that? Do you know that?
That was in California. I almost want to say it was UC. It was one of the UC schools.
Oh.
UCLA maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Cool stuff.
Yeah, it's great facts.
Yeah.
I love that.
So it's a dystopian sci-fi book. It takes place in the future, but a future that is maybe not quite so foreign to us, certainly now than it was back then. Actually, when was this published? Yeah.
My cover is
50s.
Is a book that's a box of matches.
Yeah. It's a book that's about, yes.
Yeah, it's great.
So it was published in the 50s, and
McCarthy.
Yeah. Yeah, McCarthy. Yeah, that's right.
It's McCarthy.
And but it feels very modern and very contemporary. There are huge televisions that are the size of walls. People have little earpieces, and they can listen to the radio all day long. I mean, it does seem just like right now, you know? It seems very, very contemporary. So,
oh, it's almost creepy.
It is.
It's almost creepy.
And of course, you know, it's all about censorship and book burning and book banning. And that is always
very current.
Timely and
very
current.
timely.
Yeah. And so my copy actually came out in the 90s, and it's funny, they say the classic bestseller about censorship, more important now than ever before. So, yeah, it's timeless.
Timeless.
Really. So, yes.
I guess that guarantees our jobs.
That's right.
If there's any young people listening, you'll have a job.
There you go. So,
or we hope.
We hope so. Yes. So it's certainly it's in the news right now, and it's also National Library Week. So we thought that this was the perfect opportunity to read from this book, and in this dystopian future, firemen set fires rather than putting out the fires. They're the ones who burn the books. So so we're going to give you a little reading, and this is towards the middle of the book. So the main character, Guy Montag, is a fireman, and he has gone through a bit of a transformative moment. He's decided that he wants to help protect books, help them to survive, and so he contacts this professor that he once met. And they're trying to figure out how they're going to do that. So, I'll be playing Professor Faber.
I am Montag.
All right.
We both will read. This is Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. Published...
1950, I think.
Was it straight 1950? Copyright 1951.
51, gotcha.
I'm reading a 2013 edition, and it has Neil Gaiman as an introduction. So this is the library's copy. Definitely worth coming in and checking out.
Who is it?
Montag out here.
What do you want?
Let me in.
I haven't done anything.
I'm alone, damn it.
You swear it?
I swear.
The front door opened slowly. Faber peered out, looking very old in the light, and very fragile, and very much afraid. The old man looked as if he had not been out of the house in years. He and the white plaster walls inside were much the same. There was white in the flesh of his mouth, and his cheeks, and his hair was white, and his eyes had faded, with white in the vague blueness there. Then his eyes touched on the book under Montag's arm, and he did not look so old anymore, and not quite as fragile. Slowly his fear went out. I'm sorry. One has to be careful. He looked at the book under Montag's arm, and could not stop. So it's true.
Montag stepped inside, the door shut.
Sit down.
Faber backed up as if he feared the book might vanish if he took his eyes from it. Behind him, the door to a bedroom stood open, and in that room a litter of machinery and steel tools were strewn upon a desktop. Montag had only a glimpse before Faber, seeing Montag's attention diverted, turned quickly and shut the bedroom door and stood holding the knob with a trembling hand. His gaze returned unsteadily to Montag, who was now seated with his book in his lap.
The book? Where did you...
I stole it. Faber, for the first time, raised his eyes and looked directly into Montag's face.
You're brave.
No, said Montag. My wife's dying. A friend of mine's already dead. Someone who may have been a friend was burnt less than 24 hours ago. You're the only one I knew might help me. To see... Faber's hands itched on his knees.
May I?
Sorry. Montag gave him the book.
It's been a long time. I'm not a religious man, but it's been a long time.
Faber turned the pages, stopping here and there to read.
It's as good as I remember. Lord, how they've changed it in our parlors these days. Christ is one of the family now. I wonder if God recognizes his own son the way we've dressed him up, or is it dressed him down? He's a regular peppermint stick now, all sugar crystal and saccharin, when he isn't making veiled references to certain commercial products that every worshipper absolutely needs.
Faber sniffed the book.
Do you know that books smell like nutmeg or some spice from a foreign land? I loved to smell them when I was a boy. Lord, there were a lot of lovely books once, before we let them go.
Faber turned the pages.
Mr. Montag, you are looking at a coward. I saw the way things were going a long time back. I said nothing. I'm one of the innocents who could have spoken up and out when no one would listen to the guilty. But I did not speak, and thus became guilty myself. And when finally they set the structure to burn the books using the firemen, I grunted a few times and subsided, for there were no others grunting or yelling with me by then. Now it's too late.
Faber closed the Bible.
Well, suppose you tell me why you came here.
Nobody listens anymore. I can't talk to the walls because they're yelling at me. I can't talk to my wife. She listens to the walls. I just want someone to hear what I have to say. And maybe if I talk long enough, it'll make sense. And I want you to teach me to understand what I read.
Faber examined Montag's thin, blue-jowled face. How did you get shaken up? What knocked the torch out of your hands?
I don't know. We have everything we need to be happy, but we aren't happy. Something's missing. I looked around. The only thing I positively knew was gone was the books I'd burned in 10 or 12 years. So I thought books might help.
You're a hopeless romantic, said Faber. It would be funny if it were not serious. It's not books you need. It's some of the things that once were in books. The same things could be in the parlor families today. The same infinite detail and awareness could be projected through the radios and televisors, but are not. No, it's not books at all you're looking for. Take it where you can find it, in old phonograph records, old motion pictures, and in old friends. Look for it in nature, and look for it in yourself. Books were only one type of receptacle where we stored a lot of these things we were afraid we might forget. There is nothing magical in them at all. The magic is only in what books say. How they stitch the patches of the universe together into one garment for us. Of course, you couldn't know this. Of course, you still can't understand what I mean when I say all of this. You are intuitively right, and that's what counts. 3 things are missing. Number 1, do you know why books such as this are so important? Because they have quality. What does the word quality mean? To me it means texture. This book has pores. It has features. This book can go under the microscope. You would find life under the glass, streaming past in infinite profusion. The more pores, the more truthfully recorded details of life per square inch you can get on a sheet of paper, the more literary you are. That's my definition, anyway. Telling detail. Fresh detail. The good writers touch life often. The mediocre ones run a quick hand over her. The bad ones rape her and leave her for the flies.
So now do you see why books are hated and feared?
They show the pores in the face of life. My fault. The comfortable people want only wax moon faces, poreless, hairless, expressionless. We are living in a time when flowers are trying to live on flowers, instead of growing on good rain and black loam. Even fireworks, for all their prettiness, come from the chemistry of the earth, yet somehow we think we can grow, feeding on flowers and fireworks without completing the cycle back to reality. Do you know the legend of Hercules and Antinous, the giant wrestler whose strength was incredible so long as he stood firmly on the earth? But when he was held, rootless in midair, by Hercules, he perished easily. If there isn't something in that legend for us today, in this city, in our time, then I am completely insane. Well, there we have the first thing I said we need. Quality. Texture of information.
And the second?
Leisure.
Oh, but we have plenty of off hours.
Off hours, yes. But time to think? If you're not driving 100 miles an hour at a clip where you can't think of anything else but the danger, then you're playing some game or sitting in some room where you can't argue with a four-wall televisor. Why? The televisor is real. It is immediate. It has dimension. It tells you what to think and blasts it in. It must be right. It seems so right. It rushes you on so quickly to its own conclusions your mind hasn't time to protest. What nonsense!
Only the family is people.
I beg pardon?
My wife says books aren't real.
Well, thank God for that. You can shut them. Say, hold on a moment. You play God to it. But who has ever torn himself from the claw that encloses you when you drop a seed in a TV parlor? It grows you any shape it wishes. It is an environment as real as the world. It becomes it and is the truth. Books can be beaten down with reason. But with all my knowledge and skepticism, I have never been able to argue with a 100-piece symphony orchestra, full color, 3 dimensions, and being in part of those incredible parlors. And you see, my parlor is nothing but 4 plaster walls. And here, he held out 2 small rubber plugs, for my ears when I ride the subway jets.
Denims detrifice, they toil not, neither do they spin, said Montag, eyes shut. Where do we go from here? Would books help us?
Only if the third necessary thing could be given us. Number 1, as I said, quality of information. Number 2, leisure to digest it. And number 3, the right to carry out actions based on what we learn from the interaction of the first 2. And I hardly think a very old man and a fireman turned sour could do much this late in the game.
I can get books.
You're running a risk.
That's the good part of dying. When you've nothing to lose, you run any risk you want.
There. You said an interesting thing. Without having read it.
Are things like that in books? But it came off the top of my mind.
All the better. You didn't fancy it up for me or anyone, even yourself.
Montag leaned forward. This afternoon, I thought that if it turned out that books were worthwhile, we might get a press and print some extra copies.
We?
You and I.
Oh, no! Faber sat up.
But let me tell you my plan.
If you insist on telling me, I must ask you to leave.
But aren't you interested?
Not if you start talking the sort of talk that might get me burnt for my trouble. The only way I could possibly listen to you would be if somehow the fireman's structure itself could be burnt. Now, if you suggest that we print extra books and arrange to have them hidden in firemen's houses all over the country, so that seeds of suspicion would be sown among those arsonists, bravo, I'd say.
Plant the books, turn in an alarm, and see the firemen's houses burn? Is that what you mean?
Faber raised his brows and looked at Montag as if he were seeing a new man. I was joking.
If you thought it would be a plan worth trying, I'd have to take your word it would help.
You can't guarantee things like that. After all, when we had all the books we needed, we still insisted on finding the highest cliff to jump off. But we do need a breather. We do need knowledge. And perhaps in 1,000 years we might pick smaller cliffs to jump off. The books are to remind us what asses and fools we are. They're Caesar's Praetorian Guard, whispering as the parade roars down the avenue. Remember, Caesar, thou art mortal. Most of us can't rush around, talk to everyone, know all the cities of the world. We haven't time, money, or that many friends. The things you're looking for, Montag, are in the world. But the only way the average chap will ever see 99% of them is in a book. Don't ask for guarantees, and don't look to be saved in any one thing, person, machine, or library. Do your own bit of saving. And if you drown, at least die knowing you were headed for shore. That's where we're going to leave you for today. But fantastic,
Well done.
Well done as well
Yeah,
for
well
yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, nice pick of a place to read.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
There were a lot of places that we could have read from, but I figured that was a
Televisors.
Televisors, I know. Well, it's impossible not to read that book and think of, social media and think of television and just, we're so surrounded by information. We're drowning in information, yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's why I said it feels so contemporary, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, and what you just said, it makes me reflect on our work. A lot of people come to this library and many libraries, and it's a public library mantra, right, for the internet.
Yes.
And I have worked long enough in this field to sort of work on the other side of that. That actually, yes, I know you need the internet, but I'm trying to undo everything that it's done to us.
Yes.
Right? And not everybody gets that.
Well, the Neil Gaiman quote was that at one point, the librarian was a guide through the desert, and you were looking for the oasis of knowledge and truth. But now, they're the guide through the jungle. Like, there's such a vast amount of information.
Yeah.
You have to get a guide to tell you where the oasis is hidden in the jungle among all the information.
Among all the information.
There's a paraphrase.
And it's that point, and both Faber and Montag are talking about that, of community.
Yeah.
What has internet done to our community?
Yes.
Right? And so this public space takes on a different meaning for me in our work sometimes. Yeah.
And that was before the internet. This was written in the 1950s.
Yeah. So prophetic, right? Yeah.
Crazy. But fantastic book to read. Fahrenheit 451.
Yeah, pick it up. National Library Week. This book will be on the shelf as soon as we close out this session.
Yeah. And I think we also wanted to take the opportunity maybe of, since it is National Library Week, reading the Library Bill of Rights from the American Library Association. So, the American Library Association affirms that all libraries are forums of information and ideas, and that the following basic policies should guide their services.
Number 1, books and other library resources should be provided for the interest, information, and enlightenment of all the people of the community the library serves. Materials should not be excluded because of the origin, background, or views of those contributing to their creation.
Number 2, libraries should provide materials and information presenting all points of view on current and historical issues. Materials should not be prescribed or removed because of partisan or doctrinal disapproval.
Number 3, libraries should challenge censorship in the fulfillment of their responsibility to provide information and enlightenment.
Number 4, libraries should cooperate with all persons and groups concerned with resisting abridgment of free expression and free access to ideas.
Number 5, a person's right to use a library should not be denied or abridged because of origin, age, background, or views.
Number 6, libraries which make exhibit spaces and meeting rooms available to the public they serve should make such facilities available on an equitable basis, regardless of the beliefs or affiliations of individuals or groups requesting their use.
And number 7, all people, regardless of origin, age, background, or views, possess a right to privacy and confidentiality in their library use. Libraries should advocate for education about and protect people's privacy, safeguarding all library use data, including personally identifiable information.
Intellectual freedom.
We made through that without crying.
Yeah.
Adopted. Can I just do this part?
Oh, yeah.
Adopted June 19th, 1939. 1939. We come from a long line of radicals.
We do indeed.
Yeah. Stand strong.
Yeah. Stand strong, librarians.
Stand strong. I'm enjoying my tea. We hope you're enjoying your tea.
Yes, indeed. Well, shall we move on to library updates?
What you got?
do you think?
What you got?
Well, so April 23rd and April break is coming up. So Tuesday, April 23rd, we have a Greek mythology party, a Hercules party.
And we read and Hercules was in our reading.
And Hercules was yeah. I noticed that actually.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. Yeah. So nice mythological reference there. So and this was actually kind of inspired by the fact that I've had so many kids coming up to ask for books about Greek mythology, because it's really in the zeitgeist right now with Percy Jackson on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So I said, it's the perfect time for Greek mythology party, you know. So we're going to be watching Hercules, Disney's Hercules, which is G-rated, and we have some really fun games. We have a trivia game. So we'll test your knowledge of Greek mythology. There'll be something that's some trivia that's a little bit easier, and some that's a little bit more niche and a little bit more difficult. So trivia for all ages, I would say.
Fun.
We have some other games, and there's going to be a costume contest.
I was just going to say, are you wearing a costume?
Oh, yes, but we're encouraging the kids to come in, and
Okay.
you know what? The parents, too, to come in costume as well as their favorite Greek god, goddess, demigod, or hero. And this is counting Percy Jackson characters. And there will be fantabulous prizes. And would you consider being one of our judges?
Sure.
Fantastic. Guest judges for the costume contests.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lovely. So that is Tuesday, April 23rd.
And then Greek Week continues. I have the reading group that I work with, and it's open to everyone, all readers. Or listeners. You know, we prefer you read the book, but if you come for community, again, this is, now you know my secret, this is what I work towards, community. Please join us. We are reading Circe by Madeline Miller, and we will meet on Thursday, April 25th, part of Greek Week, at 5:30 p.m. in the upstairs level here. And I told Ian, and if I say this on Frankenstein Tea, I'm going to be committed to it. I'm looking for baklava to serve. We always have tea in a tree, and so we will have baklava for Greek Week.
We will make it happen. I love baklava.
Yeah, we'll find baklava for Greek Week. So that's coming up. Let's see. At the end of that week, there is the Friends book sale. Friday and Saturday downstairs in the mill room. So they have booked the room for a few days. They're setting up. If you're a friend, remember your volunteer hours. And if you haven't signed up, get in touch with Marianne Koch or Pam Murphy, the co-presidents of the Friends of the Aldrich Public Library. Their book sale is 11 to 5 on Friday and 10 to 1 on Saturday.
And they have loads and loads of books.
Yeah, there's some beautiful books out
there.
Yeah.
So they told us today that they were not taking any more donations.
No more donations.
We don't have a place to store the books.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we're a little loaded up. So
but it'll be it's going to be a really great book sale.
It's going to be fun down there.
They have some fantastic books. Yeah. Like you said.
And then this Saturday, tomorrow, Saturday, April 13th at 2 p.m. in the Mill Community Room, we're going to show a screening of The Farm Boy. This is a film done by George Woodard, and he will be here, and he will host a Q&A after it. And people are really excited about this.
Yes.
You all must know this director, cinematographer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's local. He is a farmer. I posted today to the Front Porch Forum, and so I did a little research about this movie before I posted. And it's somewhat autobiographical of his, or biographical, I guess, of his parents.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I read that today. So
it takes place Battle of the Bulge, right?
1944. Yep. In Europe. So this is tomorrow at 2. It's going to be raining tomorrow and a little bit chilly. It's going to be a great movie day, and the director will be here. So
fantastic.
This is free. Everyone is welcome. Sponsored by the Friends of the Library.
Q&A with the director afterwards, you said.
It's
fantastic.
That's hot stuff.
Yeah, that's really great.
Yeah, it's going to be great. You can find the trailer online if you want to. If we haven't piqued your curiosity enough, go and watch the trailer, and we hope you join us tomorrow.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So before we close out, we always do a little mental health check-in on Frankenstein Tea. We work in a space where there is no stigma and no shame around mental health issues, and we encourage you to take care of yourselves in whatever way that looks like for you today. That changes day to day, that changes week by week, that changes season by season. So really take care of yourself. We offer a few suggestions. Maybe take one on today. Maybe they're easy as pie for you today. There is no judgment from us there, but we offer these to you. Have you showered and brushed your teeth? Have you eaten a good meal and drank enough water? Have you exercised your body? Have you gotten some fresh air? Are you thinking kind thoughts about yourself and others? Have you spoken to a family member or a friend? Have you read a good book? Do you need to contact your doctor? Make sure you're taking your meds or whatever part of treatment you're doing for yourself. And maybe perhaps we can say today, maybe enjoy the rain.
Enjoy the rain. Yes.
Try to enjoy it.
Enjoy the fact that it's not snow. We love the rain.
My daffodils are coming up.
Oh, that's lovely.
I
That's
know.
fantastic.
My house wasn't even built, and I was planting daffodils.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the daffs are coming.
That is the real sign of spring when you actually have the flowers starting to spring.
Yeah, they're peeking up.
And they're not snowdrops.
They're not snowdrops. Yeah. Although snowdrops are lovely.
They are lovely.
Yeah.
Well, folks, until next week, until next Friday.
Until we see you again.
Stay safe.
And keep reading. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming. Cheers.
Cheers.